monster. You don't belong in this world.
Welcome to the Cable Club. This is episode number 9, and I'm one of your hosts. I'm Steve.
I'm Dan.
And I hate my face without a mustache.
And
done.
We're the Cable Club. The first thing that we wanted to get into a little bit is, well, other than this week's game is going to be Super Mario Land 2, Legend of the, or not Legend. I don't know why I always did that, even as a kid. It is the 6 golden coins.
It feels like there should be something in there. Because I
Yeah.
feel like Mario always collects golden coins, and you're like, well, this time there's only 6 of them? I mean, I collected hundreds in the original games.
Yeah,
Like,
it
why
does
is there only
pretty
6?
legendary.
Yeah, they don't sound very legendary.
Oh, I mean, I had this game as a kid, but like for some reason my brain's always like, it's a legend of the... It's not.
It should be. Should be.
Should
yeah,
be.
But
We're going to be doing things a little bit differently, though, going forward for our Wonder Trade episodes. We actually had a user-submitted idea to change it from Wonder Trade to Random Encounter. And I think we all really like that idea because it just fits the
Absolutely.
theme really well.
we listen.
We definitely listen. A couple of the things that are going to change, though, are we're not going to be throwing out number grades for each of the different categories that we have, presentation and gameplay and all that. We're going to be doing a little bit more of a free flow kind of episode where we talk about the categories like in the previous format. And then at the end, we're going to either give it our rating to either catch it, which is good, or run away, which is bad. So you'll have to stick with us to see it to the end. Or, you could skip ahead and use the timestamps below, or you can, use the little sliding bar on your listening app, whatever, Spotify or Amazon Music. I also wanted to point
Get to
out,
the 30-minute mark.
yeah, 30 minutes is about where we finish up with all of our news and all that.
Yeah, give or
But-
take.
The pregame, so to speak. The prologue. The tutorial part of our podcast.
If you don't like tutorials, you can skip ahead, but, I think our news section and our question of the week is pretty fun. So I wouldn't skip
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
in modern
sure.
games, tutorials never end, right? Like, they just keep stopping you and, teaching you
Yeah.
things all the time, right?
That's why we don't get excited about tutorials, because they overstay their welcome. Also, a reminder, you guys have until March 1st to submit any of the games that you want to be in contestation for being picked on our next Victory Road episode. It's any game that you want that's 20 years or older. Just send it in either through our Gmail, the Cable Club podcast at gmail.com, or YouTube comment, or any way you can get a hold of us. Send in your submissions.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Send in
week.
them.
That's 1 week for all you keeping track at home.
7 days.
I'm very excited. There
Me
are
too.
only 9 games in the pool right now, so if you are the 10th, that gives you a 1 in 10 chance of getting your game to be the episode that we talk about. What other podcast can you find where the odds are that good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know any. I don't know any other podcasts.
We'll sell ourselves for subs and views. It's fine. We are for sale.
Kind of. Well, I think we're going to pass it off to Dan for question of the week.
Alrighty. So, our question of the week this week is, what are some games that have aged better than others because of how they look? Well, I actually have an honorable mention, and I actually have a series that I want to pick. So I'm gonna say my honorable mention first, which is Metal Slug, 1996. I think that was arcade and Neo Geo. Um, the animations in that game are excellent to this day. Like I don't know how much frames that they put into each like animation, but they're like so fluid even to this day.
For some reason, I thought you were saying Metal Gear from 1996, and I don't know when that game actually came out, but I thought you meant like the PlayStation release, and I was like,
Yeah, no. Metal Slug.
Spoiler alert: PlayStation generally did not age well.
I
Yeah, that would have been funny if I picked like the Metal Gear Solid one. It's just like a bunch of blocks.
yeah, and that's kind of the point, right? Because like I feel like certain game consoles lent themselves to that like really realistic approach, trying to make all their models look real or steeped in reality, and I think that kind of mentality has kind of aged like milk
Yeah, oh yeah.
in most cases. Um, but like I don't know, think of like a PlayStation game like Parappa the Rappa, right? Like it still looks the way it was meant to look
Yeah,
back in
that's
the
true.
day.
Yeah,
Or even like the Mega Man X games. I know we harp on them a lot on this podcast, but like they still look like they're
how they're supposed to
anime
look. Yeah,
Well,
basically.
basically, any
Yeah,
cell-shaded game looks the same as it did before. I mean, it's just one of those things that everybody was so like abrasive with at first, but now looking back, 20 years ago, the cell-shaded games look amazing.
yeah, it
yeah,
really did future proof them a lot. I'm thinking like Beautiful Joe
yeah,
and
No.
Wind Waker's another one.
yeah. Wind Waker's
Yep.
still excellent to this day.
Mega Man X7 is not a good example.
Nope. All right.
It's
Well, I actually
unfortunate.
have I have a trilogy for the SNES, and it's the Donkey Kong Country series
Yeah,
because they look amazing even to this day, and they almost have like a 3D look to them, on an NES, game. And like we were saying, it looks like what it's supposed to look like. And if that game were to come out, say tomorrow, like those games, it would still look excellent. They didn't the art style that they went for those is phenomenal.
so actually, there was an animator, Jonathan Cooper, who at the time was an award winning animator, basically just able to create these type of models. You'd know his work now from like Assassin's Creed and Mass Effect, but like he's always kind of been into that kind of thing. So it's just they basically tried a different graphical style in order
Yeah,
to get that on there. So
yeah, absolutely. Those were my two picks though. I don't know what you guys picked, but I'm curious to find out.
I mean, Paper Mario could be a really obvious choice for me. It still looks, again, still looks the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know, Steve, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah,
Well,
I had a thought and it just totally left me. So
so I was personally thinking like Paper Mario as well, but then I was thinking about how when I first got Pokemon Red and Blue, right? And like you could tell that the monsters like there were some issues. But when they released Pokemon Yellow, like that sprite work, even though there wasn't like a bunch of animations or anything, like you could tell that they put a lot of love into making it look a lot more like the anime, and it made all of the gym leaders and all the
What
Pokemon
about
like they looked so much nicer and cleaner.
yeah?
But it was
What
off the
about
same
like in
hardware.
battle though? What about in battle though? Like, did they change any of the sprite work in battle or
Yeah,
no?
all of the Pokemon from the
Because
front look a lot better,
oh,
but from
okay.
the
Because like
back they kept the same.
because I was gonna say like because Ghastly was just like a pixely mess when you like threw him out. I wonder if they changed that because I never played
Yeah,
yellow. I played red and blue,
not the
but not
backs.
yellow.
The fronts though look really good to this day. And
I
I mean,
actually
everything on the
like that.
Super Nintendo, everything looked pretty damn good on the Super
Yeah,
Nintendo.
Yeah, so this is a little bit deceiving of a question nowadays, right? Because pixel art is definitely back in vogue,
yeah,
and I think it has a lot to do with the 16-bit era, particularly
right.
well, I don't actually want to give all the credit to SNES because Sega, does have some pretty sweet sprite work too.
Yeah,
So
like Sonic in general. Like the amount of like sprite work in Sonic alone is like insane.
yeah, I think of Fire Emblem when I think of this question. My thought came back to me, right? So those Fire Emblem GBA games were just so well animated. All those attack animations had like a really nice crunchiness to them, and they had a lot of frames. And it's just I just think the games look really nice and still do today. So I think for a console that was basically an SNES in your pocket, they had to do a lot to stylize those games in order to keep them looking modern, especially when the GameCube was out parallel to that, right? So
I just thought of another answer. Super Mario
what else you
Brothers
got?
2.
It does
Mm.
look better than I think both the first Mario and Mario 3, if I'm being honest. Just
Yeah,
like
like it
aesthetically, I think it looks
looks
better.
really clean, and they have like the crouching animations, they have the picking up animations, like, and all the characters have like their different aspects, and that's different sprite works, and considering all of the hurdles that they probably had to go through using the NES, I think that game looks incredible for an NES game. So that's a pretty good
Yeah,
pick, I
no, it
think.
does. It does.
Yeah, it does. All right, we want to transition to some gaming news, fellas.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
News.
Let's go. All right, so for you this week, I have some juicy, juicy stuff, particularly for Dan. So Capcom is running a survey. I don't actually know how long it goes for, but it is going right now, and you can get there via either the link that we're going to put in the description in our episode notes, or you can Google it. You'll find some videos about it. It's from the Cap. It's on the Capcom Cap Town website. And basically, what they're asking is, everything you want to hear as a video game fan. So they're asking questions like, what games do you want us to make a sequel out of, or what games do you want to have us remake? And they basically opened up their entire catalog to this question. So Dan, I want to hear your thoughts about this because I know you just dying for Mega Man Legends 3. And yes, Mega Man Legends is on there as the
Yeah.
small franchise.
So I actually did take this survey, and I had it was so hard, but I had a toss up between a new Mega Man X game and Mega Man Legends 3. And I ultimately went with a Mega Man X game, which I don't know. After I submitted it, I was like kind of having like second thoughts because I really want a Mega Man Legends 3 game too. But like I said, I ultimately went for a Mega Man X game, and I would love to see like a Mega Man X9 because
Or
I don't,
just remake 7.
or a remake. Yeah, dude, I would go for that too. Like a remake of 7 or but
Hopefully they
Erase it
just
from
make it
history.
hopefully they make it a side scroller if they did.
yeah. But like, well, if they do make like another like Mega Man X game, I want it to be like Mega Man X. I don't want it to be like a spin-off like Mega Man Zero or whatnot. Give me Mega Man X. That's what I want.
All right. Yes, here is our chance. We're going to use the power of this survey and our limited number of listeners to go to the Capcom Captown website and vote for a remake of Mega Man X7 because now we finally have a chance to erase it from history.
That'd be something, huh?
We need to
I don't
band
think it would
together for
ever
the greater
happen,
good.
but
We won't stand for it.
I haven't taken the
Steve, what game are
survey
you
yet.
going to vote for, Steve?
I haven't taken the survey yet, but a part of me wants them to do another Battle Network game, not like Star Force and all that. But
I could get behind that.
yeah, more like I love Battle Network 2 and 3 so much. I want it to feel more like those. But you say this to Capcom, but that doesn't mean that's what they're going to do.
True, true. But we can all hope, right? And again, they're asking all the right questions that tickle your fancy as a fan. You know.
Oh, they should remake Resident Evil 4 again.
And then again after that.
Don't worry, they will. Whether we answer that or not, they will. Um, and just a little disclaimer: if you haven't taken it, you might be put off by this. But the first part of the Capcom survey is this weird like job application thing with these weird questions, and it's all to give you your like custom phone banner screen that they expect you to put as your phone background. I didn't do that, but you still have to answer the questions to get to the real survey. So just breeze through that if you don't care, or just lovingly equip your new phone screensaver.
What about you, Don? Do you have any games that you have in mind that they'd like to bring back?
Oh, I just went there and windmill slammed Mega Man on every
Yeah,
single question they
did
asked
too.
me. They're like, for your job, what is your preferred activity? And I was like, charge shots and power sliding. Yeah, no.
So you wanted a regular, like an old school Mega Man game, like Mega
I
Man
I
11
I
or
did
what?
shake it up a little bit. If I'm being honest, like I think they really hurt Battle Network a lot with Mega Man Battle Network 6. I think 5 and 6 have such weak story entries that like it I can't see them making a Mega Man Battle Network 7 and have it be like, I don't want to say good because the gameplay in 6 is really good. But
Yeah,
just the story is so absurd that like it's really like, oh yeah, I'm definitely playing a kid's game. Um,
I would like it if you could
but
play
like,
as Proto Man throughout the whole game and be
yeah,
on
that
like
would be cool.
what was that? It was Chad was the operator, or Chaz,
Chod or something,
Chad. Yeah,
something
and
like
he was
that.
on like the elite, like the police force, right? So it would be really cool to just like be in his shoes for a game, be on the police force, and doing basically the same things Land did, hunting down viruses and all that.
That would be
But
sweet.
just on the other side of the coin.
I'm just saying, being on the net police force looks like a pretty sweet gig when you have this other like grade school age kid doing all your work for you.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
is
He
that'd
like
be a good
hunts
a
idea.
down and
phenom,
like
all right.
executes. Yeah, he like hunts down and executes the mafia net navis with impunity.
I'm
Like
actually surprised they haven't
across
done that
6
yet,
games.
to be honest, because it's like,
Well, they
Zero
had the
has his own
teams.
games.
It was Proto Man and
Well, I
Colonel,
mean,
right?
yeah, but you're ultimately still controlling Mega Man.
In the
Yeah.
the 6th one, you get like Link Navis, and you can run around as different Navis anywhere you want on the net, um, and play like that. Doesn't really do much gameplay wise though. Like they don't have special abilities with chips and stuff, so it's
No, but
kind of
they come
whatever.
with special folders, and you have extra weaknesses.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't come with special folders. They still equip your folder,
I
but
thought
you don't get a Navi cust, and you get a special charge shot, and you get like one special chip for them.
that
That's
might
Right.
pretty
have been
much
what it
it.
was. It's been a while.
It's whatever. So other news, the FF7 remake comes out on Leap Day, February 29th. FF7 remake Rebirth. Um, I noticed that they renamed the Midgar Zolom to like the Midgar something else.
Probably Midgar
I just
Stormer.
noticed it. Yes, yeah, that. Why?
That is the legendary snake from Norse mythology.
Oh, maybe I'm just ignorant because I'm like, why'd they rename my boy?
My
Like,
boy. All
Yeah,
right, are you guys
Midgar
getting the
Stormer.
game or you guys waiting?
I don't know.
I'm gonna wait till it comes out on PC. Steve doesn't have any excuses.
Yeah,
Steve's
I don't
excuse
know. Like
is time.
for me, it's like I enjoyed like the first one that came out, but like I wasn't like head over heels with it, so I don't think I'm gonna get it on
I was
release.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean,
no.
well, I'll see. Like maybe I'll cave in once it's out, and I'm like, oh, everyone's playing it. I'm gonna want to play it, but I don't know.
I give
As
it
of
a
now, I'm gonna wait.
I like streamed it the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I played it pretty much nonstop. I think I beat it in like 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I really loved every minute of it. I thought it was fantastic.
I
Yeah.
But
stopped.
I'm probably gonna wait till it comes out on PC.
I stopped right before I had to go to the Shinra building.
You know
I
what?
was
Too
doing
is like,
everything. I just didn't finish it.
yeah. I actually haven't even played the DLC, so I feel like I'd be doing this a disservice if I just went to the second game without playing the DLC that they added for the first game too.
It's Yuffie.
Once I finish
But
Hogwarts Legacy, I'll probably pick up Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PS5, play through that, and then pick up Rebirth and play through that. I'm not in any rush.
yeah, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as of right now.
Looks good, but I time is an issue for me. So, I'd rather bring content to these fine people than to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Wow, such dedication.
My last bit of news is Mario vs. Donkey Kong came out on the 15th for the Switch. It
Oh,
has, so I think it's one of these remakes with not a lot of new content, but at least it looks new and looks nice. I never really played the original outside of a few levels, but just some stats. There are 4 extra hard levels. I guess in the original one there were like 12 secret levels that were more difficult. In this one there's 16, so they give you 4 extra hard levels, and there are 120 levels in this game, which is 24 more than the original. So a few extra levels there. I'm thinking about getting it just because it's kind of the capacity that I have these days, and I don't know that I'm ever going to get around to playing the GBA version. But I like the puzzle platformer type of genre.
yeah.
Have you guys ever played this one?
I have not, no. But it's a
No.
little on the cheaper side too. Like, isn't it like 50 instead of like $60 or $70? I think
It's a
Yeah,
Switch
I think
yeah,
it's
game.
probably.
50.
It's I think it's like the Prime remake, which came out at less too.
Yeah,
I feel like the Prime remake is probably worth the premium price, but yeah, it's interesting that it came out for less. You know what is full price is the Advance Wars reboot camp, which is just the first 2 GBA games. Picked that up
really.
recently, and I've been playing that a little bit too.
Wow. Did
So
they do anything different to those? Or, I mean, it's called Reboot, so I imagine they did a little tweaking at least.
I mean, it's a complete graphical overhaul, and if
Oh,
you play the first one on GBA, the tutorial is like I don't even know, like 15, 20 levels long or something like that. It's ridiculously long. They like tell you they tell you so much before you really need to know it. They like take you through the whole game, and then like you don't see a lot of the elements until like halfway through the game. So they redid that. Yeah, and then I guess there's like there was a big emphasis on multiplayer. I don't know how big the community is for it. I'm sure it's not massive. Um, but yeah, there's big like multiplayer, make your own custom maps, all that kind of stuff. But I'm playing it for the story, the campaign rather, because I just like that kind of game. It used to be on the same engine as Fire Emblem, just like that tactical stuff.
I'm gonna be
very
honest.
nice.
I have gotten to the end of multiple tactical games, and I have never finished one of them.
Really?
Like, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Oh,
Like, I
wow.
end up losing steam near the end every time I play one.
It is a genre that I think is stifled by just like repetitive gameplay.
I
Yeah,
think that's it.
it is because I actually bought what is it, like the Tactics Ogre remake. Yeah, I've never played the original, but I got like, probably 75% through the game, and I was like Steve, I just got bored because it's like eventually it becomes the same thing over and over. It's just the map with just different enemies. Like I
Yeah.
would like a little more strategizing rather than just like, oh well, I just got to kill these enemies and move on.
I mean, I feel like there's strategizing most of the time, but it's I don't know about Tactics Ogre, but like if you play Final Fantasy Tactics, like the one for PlayStation, that
Yeah,
one's hard. Like you really have to plan things out, or you're going to end up
Yeah,
replaying the same
like
map
what
over
I
and
would
over
like to
again.
see from like tactics game is like, say you got like the enemy base and you got your base, and then you got like a couple like ninjas or something or agents, and then you like sneak behind the enemy lines or something, and then you start causing havoc from like behind. Like I would love to see stuff like that.
Well, then Advance Wars is for you, Dan. Check it out. I don't want to talk about it anymore in case it comes up on a podcast. We end up blowing it up now.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it really breaks the mold in terms of those in many different ways in terms of those tactical games. But we're not here to talk about Advance Wars today, are we, guys?
no sir, we are not.
Nope, we're here to talk about our 6 golden coins, our non-legendary golden coins. Let's get
Not
into the game.
legendary. Super Mario Land 2 is a 1992 platformer game for the Game Boy. It was developed and produced by Nintendo, and it's a direct sequel to Super Mario Land 1. Did you guys play Super Mario Land 1?
No, I have not.
Yes.
So, it's really weird. Like,
Super Mario Land 1 or Super Mario Land 2?
Super Mario Land 1 was really weird. Super Mario Land 2, I find a lot less weird. But
They're both weird.
Why is
yeah,
one
a
weird?
little
Just
bit.
I want to know why one is weird.
One is kind of like they tried to make the NES game for Game Boy, but in like a different setting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
looked up
controls
that
really
a little bit.
strangely, and it's like what would you say, like mythological almost? Like it's like ancient Egypt and ancient like it's weird.
It's like that like tokenized travel around the world thing that they used to do back in the 80s and just stereotype everyone across the world. You had like he goes to like Egypt, but it's like ancient Egypt, of course, and then he goes to like
With the
China, and it's
Sphinx.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely is not aged well. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
I heard like Princess Daisy was in that one too. Is that when she was first introduced?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, she's the princess of Sarasa Land, which is the name of the place that Mario is in, not the Mushroom Kingdom.
Right. And so this being a direct sequel, when Mario arrives back from his trip from Sarasa Land, he finds that his entire personal island and his castle, who's the real narcissist here, his own personal island, with a giant Mario like machine or whatever it is.
Mario like world is
Yeah,
one of the worlds.
Like it's just really weird.
he
He
can't
finds
get
that
enough of
all this
himself.
stuff is under some kind of a spell. And to regain all of his hard-earned stuff from destroying King Koopa and, Bowser. I don't know if they're the same or what, but
They are.
okay, well, he must have taken one of those castles or something. And he has to gain it back from his evil childhood acquaintance. The first appearance of a fan favorite, Wario.
What was the idea behind Wario?
Just
Dude's
bad
jealous.
Mario. The M
He's
is
jealous
upside
of Mario.
down, and he likes money.
Yeah. So, well, basically, Mario's front door is guarded or like has indentations of 6 golden coins,
Yeah,
which
like what does he have to like travel around the world so that he can get inside his house every day? Like,
well, I think they're in there
Well,
originally,
yeah, I think that's the spell.
or maybe.
Yeah, of like locking him out. Um,
are there no
but
windows?
it's
Like, if I was
I guess
locked out,
not.
I would just
Not
break
on
a
the lower
window to
level.
get in.
I don't know. I'm just baffled by the idea that Mario has a castle. But
Yeah, it doesn't seem very
so
Mario-like. We were in the
this
wrong
this
trade,
being
Dan. Should have been a plumber.
we all are. This this random encounter format is going to see us take this game through 5 different categories today. So we're going to take it through presentation, which are the graphics and sounds that put this game into your head. The gameplay, of course, which I think we all think is most important. The pacing of the overall game. It could be the level designs, or just, does the game overstay its welcome, or how quickly does it move from point A to point B to point C, point D, E, F. Playability today, and the X Factor, or our final thoughts, or our own personal stump time about what we think about the game is good or bad. And then at the end of all that discussion, we will give a final verdict on this game.
Sounds good.
All right. First category, guys. Presentation. Tell me about how it looks, how it sounds.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I think the graphics in this game, I think they're good enough to what they're like trying to accomplish for a Game Boy game. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it's nothing amazing either. I think for its time, I mean, it's definitely the weakest, I think, in my opinion, of what they've had.
You should
Like,
play
I don't know.
Mario Land, Super Mario Land.
Yeah, you need to play some more Game Boy games, Dan.
Well, I guess so, but I was
The
thinking
Mona Lisa.
I was
of Game Boy.
thinking more of like the regular Mario 2, Mario 3, and I think he had
Those
Super
are-
Mario World before that.
Those are console.
It
Yeah.
is true. The Super Mario, the Super Nintendo did live through the Game Boy era.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying, like I said, it's not like bad, but I don't think it's like like crazy good either. It's serviceable. If
Which
you
is
guys
all you could ask of a Game Boy game back in the day.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think that the sprite work is pretty good. Like, everything considered. For it being a Game Boy game, you have to deal with the black and the green are the only colors you get to see, which is just part of the experience. But the sprite work overall for a Game Boy game is actually really good.
yeah.
Yeah, I emulated this week, and I totally turned that like gross green filter on to make it look like Game Boy screen. It was pretty great.
You know what I think it's on the Switch Online.
Yeah,
Is it like in full color now?
No, it's
Probably
not.
no. They have a DX
think so.
version of the game, so I assumed that there would be
Oh
color.
no, I think you're thinking of Mario 1 DX. I don't think it's
Yeah, because I have that on the Switch, and I remember that there was no color. So I mean,
Okay, maybe
unless
it's a
there's an
fan-made
option to-
mod for the game or something
maybe.
with color. Because I remember watching a YouTube video of somebody playing it in color, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I mean, the emulators have so many filters now. You definitely can get it to be mostly colored pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
What did you guys think about the music overall?
I know you hated it,
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not a big fan.
but for a Game
The-
Boy game, it's not bad.
Stop. Stop
The
right
main
there.
track.
You were gonna compare this to Pokemon's music? Get out.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Ding.
Yeah, there's like Pokemon, there's some Mega Man games, and then there's everything else.
Donkey
okay?
Kong.
You gotta take the S tiers out of it.
No, you don't.
Donkey Kong is like the old Donkey Kong. We're talking about
No,
the Game
Donkey
Boy.
Kong Land,
Donkey
right?
Kong Country
Donkey Kong
was
Land.
not on Game Boy.
No, Donkey Kong Land was.
I think it's Game Boy Color. Is it? Okay. I don't know if that soundtrack is any good. But anyway, we were still talking about 3 games out of how many
How
there are on
about
the Game
Kirby?
Boy.
Great music.
Kirby started on the Game Boy, but
Yeah.
it's, the first few outings are just okay. All right. The music is mid.
That's
It's definitely
That's
not
what I
bad.
wanted
For
to
sure.
hear you say. There
sure.
it is, right there.
They have like a main track that they use throughout the entire game. That they just switch it up when you go to different worlds.
Yeah.
So there's like I think there's like 7 tracks in the whole game, including Wario's Castle, which slaps, by the way.
Yeah.
I like Wario's Castle theme,
Me too.
which is good
I
because you're
mean-
going to spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, I mean the theme itself is not bad. Like I actually like the theme, but it's just like you're getting the same theme for the majority of the game. Where
Oh, yeah, the
whether
main
it's
theme.
a different instrument here or there.
That's
There's that
my
one
experience.
song that plays it like plays through the whole Halloween world. That's like the worst. It like jabs into your brain. Like it's just terrible.
I'm just not a huge
Right.
fan of the music. I didn't feel like it was inspired very much. I don't know. I even had this game as a kid, like I had said before, and it doesn't strike any chords of nostalgia. The music, it's just
No.
not
Yeah, it's
really.
too average, I feel.
That's my experience
And
with
it's
it.
not very Mario.
No.
No. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But you know what is very Mario is the sound effects. With like the mushroom power ups, the jumps, all very iconic sounds. You'll get that in this game.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, you're gonna get the Mario experience in the sound effect department for sure when you play this game.
I think what strikes me visually too is how well they did so many themes across the game. Because there are 6 different worlds, as we've already talked about, but they all look different, and they all have different enemies. Like there's a lot of sprites in this game for a Game Boy game.
Yeah,
Right.
there is. But there's also a ton of Goombas, and it feels like the Koopas are just so rare, which is kind of weird. But then you think, like, it's Mario Land, so why would there be a bunch of Koopas?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's like why
I
would you have
guess
a
that
bunch
kind
of
of makes
Yeah,
enemies on
there
this
sense.
are like
island?
no Koopas. I don't.
No, there
Oh,
are. You can pick up
maybe a
shells.
couple.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But you're right. They are very rare. But it's such a step up from the first game. Like
Oh, totally.
in graphics, it's like I really think he looks a lot like the Mario 3 model
He does.
in this. And somehow he's big, he's chunky on the screen, but
Yeah.
somehow the game never really does that thing to you. You know when something is too far zoomed in and you just end up running into every enemy and you don't have time to react. For some
Super
reason, this
Metroid.
game doesn't really seem to do that to you. Yeah. Well, Super Metroid, you don't have to worry about it. You can just run through everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so strong. Well, you know what kind of experience? The music doesn't really give you that Mario experience. How about we move on to gameplay? So,
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
for the most part, he feels very much like Mario. He's
I felt like he was slippery.
a little bit
Yeah, no,
slippery,
he controls so weird in this game. It's
Yeah.
but not
so
weird
removed
compared
from
to
every other
Mario at
Mario
Super
game.
Mario Land.
I actually think weirder.
Weirder?
But I actually
Yeah.
haven't played the first Mario Land. So when I was playing this, I was comparing it to like the Mario games that I have played, and I did notice that he did feel like he was like Luigi without the extra jump power.
Yeah, he's like a little floatier,
Yeah.
but like what I mean about Super Mario Land 1 is they were really trying to mimic the original engine. They didn't do it completely. They definitely botched it. But what it translates into is him being a little bit more slippery and a little bit more heavy feeling. But if you go back and play the first Mario now, like right now, he feels like he's wearing like lead ankle weights. Like he's really heavy.
Yeah.
like
Like Super Mario
it's kind of the only
Brothers?
way I can really describe it. Yeah. Yeah. There's just something about the way you have to hold A to ascend, and like the minute you stop is like and like the fast way he falls and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
the sometimes he'll jump like absurdly high, like when you have the run button held down. And I've noticed that like sometimes it's like you'll try and want to do like a precision jump and then he like skyrockets into the sky. You're like, whoa.
I mean, I still think the controls are pretty tight, right? Like you can short hop
You get
effectively.
used
Yeah.
Well,
to it.
you can't, Dan, but
Yeah.
Steve and I can.
I just
Well,
feel like the slipperiness really, comes into play when you're in the last level. Like you just need that like extra precision, and I feel like sometimes it works against you.
Oh, we will get to that last level, but I think particularly in pacing. But I
Yeah.
don't think the slipperiness is the problem with the last level.
so I guess maybe I kind of
Yeah.
had the feeling like it felt like Mario because, like I had said, having it as a kid, just like playing this alongside Super Mario Brothers, and it just all kind of like melds in together for me personally. But I could see how you guys would feel a lot differently. However, a lot of like the basic ideas of Mario's gameplay are in this. Like, you get the blocks and you get the power ups, and you jump on almost all the enemies except maybe ants sometimes. And so it's like it still feels a lot like a Mario game as far as the gameplay goes. He may control a little bit differently or a lot of bit differently, however you feel when you play. But I think overall, it gets that point across to being a Mario game.
Yeah. No, it's definitely similar, like how he plays. It's not like totally different, but it is there.
And it's you still have some of the power ups, which is cool. And
Yeah.
I feel like every time there's a Mario game, there's always one different power up, right?
Right.
And you know what? Back to Mario Land 1 for a second. I feel like they only ever intended to have fire flowers, and somebody told the like lead developer that, oh yeah, he throws fireballs and they bounce, and then what you got was like the weird ball Mario. Like I think that was legitimately a mistake. But so this one you see a return to form to the actual fire flower, except he has like a little feather on his head.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what that's all about. And then he has the bunny ears, which I initially thought was like one of the worst, like flighty slash hovering
I actually
suits.
like that
There's
one.
like a whole, yeah, there's like a whole category of this type of power up, right?
Right.
Like there's the raccoon tail, there's the cape, there's the spinny hat thing on the Wii version, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the flighty power up.
He gets one like every
But
game.
there's like more power ups that aren't like just power ups in this game. There's like the space level where he's wearing the space suit and you get like anti gravity jumping. There's like the bubble
Yeah, but
level.
you get the
Like there's more
anti-gravity
stuff than just
jumping,
that.
like, no matter what, even if you're little. It's not really a power-up,
Ye-
it's a level mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. It definitely feels like a power up though.
Yeah.
Like it alters your gameplay in a positive
Well,
way.
it's
Like
almost like
it's
a water stage in a sense because you can just spam the jump button, right? And you just can keep going.
In the
oh
space you
well,
hold it.
that's a different one. Yeah,
That's a different level? Or,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, because I remember that level. Because he had this, I think he has a space suit in that level as well where you can just spam the jumps.
Yeah, so
Um,
there's three
yeah.
levels in the hippo or whatever. And the first one is you get the bubble, and you can like fly around with the bubble, which acts like stage 3 in the world. But stage 2, it's just like a low gravity where you jump higher. It's not like
Right.
the ability to fly, it's just jumping higher. So that's the differences.
You know what else makes this game feel less like a Mario game too? Is the weird HUD at the bottom. So like
Oh, yeah.
you have your coins, but the 100 coins doesn't give you a life like it does in I think absolutely every other Mario game. Um, Instead, they just build up and they max out at 999. And then there's like an enemy kill count that if it goes to 100, you get a life. So like you're incentivized to just murder. Um,
Mario woke up
and
and
then
chose
there's
violence today.
yeah, he did. And then there's hearts. Like hearts are lives, not the green. I mean, I guess they couldn't have done the green mushroom, so I guess it has to be hearts, right? That actually might be the whole reason because everything was green on the Game Boy
Yeah.
screen, so they can't do a green mushroom. But like the coins are used in like this weird shop, and I feel like this has the gun knack problem of like the shop is there and contains like nothing useful for
Just
you.
free lives, or
Um,
not free, but like
Yeah.
lives.
It was very useful for me, let me tell you. Like, I needed all the lives I could get.
the shop just feels thrown in there. Um,
Yeah, it's not really like an asset to the game. It's just you could have just given me lives with coins, and that would have been good enough.
Yeah. It almost feels like it was stapled on after the fact.
there's so many different mechanics in this game too for a little Game Boy game. There's what like 20. So there's like 6 times like roughly 4 levels. So there's like what 24
I'd say
levels ish,
3.
right? Yeah. Well, some of them have 4 levels and some of them have three. It probably averages out. It's probably like 22 or 23 levels. But there are so many mechanics like throughout these levels, right? There's the bubble, but then there's the one where you're like in the whale and there's basically like essentially floating water.
Which is
You
the
know,
same as the sap in the tree.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, Yeah, but you might see the same mechanic a couple times across a Mario
Yeah.
game. But I just think that's really neat because in like I wouldn't even say that like uh Super Mario World has that varied of mechanics throughout its levels.
I don't
Like
think
there's a
so.
couple of different gimmicks, but not a lot.
Hmm.
Right.
It
Yeah.
definitely has a lot more power ups. It's definitely a lot more meat on the bone. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is a better game, but
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
I
think
would
there's a
say
lot more
like
gimmicks in this game.
maybe. So in like Super Mario World, you get secret ending or secret exits, and that kind of adds extra, not necessarily mechanics, but like it adds extra depth to the levels. And then like the different colored
Yeah,
Yoshis can,
Yeah.
or
No,
Yoshi
Yoshi in
eating
general,
different,
yeah.
yeah, Yoshi in general, like some levels have them, some levels don't. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to take away from Super Mario Land, but I think that you're not wrong, but at the same time, like it feels like a contentious point to make. Like I feel like you could argue both.
don't
Yeah.
you come near Super Mario World while Steve's on the chat. Don't you do it.
But I know what
Um,
you mean.
but yeah, I'm just shocked. I actually had a really good time playing this title. Tight controls, good mechanics, and I guess what I want to say about the mechanics too is I feel like a lot of levels they almost feel a little Wonder Flower y. Like if you played Super Mario Wonder, there's just random stuff in these levels that just are different. Like
Yeah, well, I
you could
think
easily see the bubble being a Wonder Flower thing, right?
there's Bubble
Or the
Mario
and the f-
in Wonder.
yeah, well, I mean him being in a bubble, or like, and I think less gravity, and I think floating water are Wonder Flowers throughout that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of different Wonder like mechanics. I think we can all agree that Mario Wonder did it better after 20 something years, 30 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. I just can't help but wonder if maybe there was some like slight inspiration going on here from this, because Mario is kind of formulaic, I feel like, but sometimes ventures into the weird, and
Yeah.
I feel like we're really really left of center here in terms of the weird with this title.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts though about the gameplay um, was the different bosses. Like you jumped on them all, but like they all had different patterns and did different things, and you have the three little
Yeah.
piggies and the
And they
space
all
guy who
had like,
shoots his shots and flies around, and
right.
the witch
Yeah,
tries
they
to
all had their
kill
own
you, and
specific timing.
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
No, it is. I actually enjoyed the boss fights in this game a lot.
Like compare it to Super Mario 3. Like all the Koopa kids, like they just feel kind of the same. They run around, they jump, and they roll around, and they shoot the wand at you. Like they all feel really kind
Yeah.
of similar.
Can we all agree that Baby Bowser is just the worst?
Yeah.
Like every game he's in, why does he have to be the only Koopaling? Why do they do that? I love the Koopalings, and I really just don't like Baby Bowser because they're like, oh yeah, give him all the spotlight. We're just shoving him down your throat. You're supposed to like him the most out of all the Koopa kids. And then they like retcon the Koopalings. They're not actually related to Bowser anymore. Like it's just this whole crazy mess just because I don't even like why Baby Bowser, why?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know.
it's
Hate you.
maybe it's a generational thing. They trying to appease a different crowd. Who knows?
Didn't like him in the GameCube. I don't like him now. And how about Wario having three forms? By the way,
That's because it's for each power up.
as far as like gameplay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they
He
wanted
was
you
a
to
fun boss fight
experience
too.
the fight like oh well, you have these three power ups, now fight against them, But it's
Yeah.
big,
Well, because you
evil
like
Mario,
bad Mario, right? Yeah.
bigger and badder.
Oh.
But you know what's kind of interesting?
Really, really cool.
And I don't know if you guys thought about this or not, but I had that thought like each of his forms takes 3 hits because Big
Yep.
Mario also takes 3 hits. Like Fire
Does he?
Flower Mario
Well,
in this game,
well,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
you
in
meant.
this
Yeah.
game he
He
takes
doesn't
3.
lose his. he doesn't lose his power up.
His
So-
mushroom power up,
like,
yeah.
And they
like you do.
and they give you the power ups in between, or they give you some kind of power up in between the different sections, so it feels like a real head to head 50-50 matchup. You know, it's kind of cool.
Mirror match.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I actually wanted to back up on that for a minute. So if you in any other Mario game have a fire flower and you somehow spawn a mushroom, most of the power ups in most Mario games are what we call progressive, right?
Yeah.
So you won't ever see a mushroom if you get a fire flower. But in this one, it's not always the case. There's just like random mushrooms hanging around sometimes, or random power ups. So you can go from 0 to 60, which is sweet, where you can have no power up, stumble on a carrot, grab it, and suddenly you have all the power ups. Or you can go the opposite direction, playing a bonus game,
Go from 60 to
and
30.
you can like go from 60 to 30. And you go from like fire flower to just regular old mushroom.
Oh
Just
boy.
punishes you. Yeah, here's your bonus game.
Wow, this is great. You're sitting in the
Like I
car
said, that just
playing
doesn't
the
happen to
Game
you.
Boy. You know, you're playing Super Mario Land. Your mom got it, and all of a sudden you get that, and you go start screaming like, "What is wrong with this game? It's broken. Bring it back to the store." This isn't supposed to happen.
Back there.
I have a funny story about that actually. I'd like to share. So, I had gotten Banjo and Kazooie. I was in like the fourth grade, and my mom, she bought me a Game Shark for the N64, and so I had one of those books that you would buy, you'd pick up at the grocery store, like a cheat code book, Cheat Codes Unlimited or whatever, and
Cheater.
they had Game Shark codes for Banjo and Kazooie in the book, but my Game Shark didn't have Banjo and Kazooie on the list of games to select, and I didn't know you had to like plug in certain things to add the title in. So I brought it back, the Game Shark back to my mom. I was like, this isn't right. It doesn't work. And she, such a good mom, she took it back to the store and she traded it in for another one, saying that there was something wrong with it. She brought it back, and same thing, didn't have the game on it. And I eventually figured out that you had to add it. But I just wanted to shout out to mom. Thanks, mom.
Well, my opinion of Steve's mom is going up, but my opinion of Steve as a cheater is going way down.
Cheater.
Oh, I'm not really a big cheater.
All right, you want to move into
You
pacing?
guys just want to
Sure thing.
besmirch my character.
So I want to start off by saying this game is an open world title on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
What an ambitious little console the Game Boy is. As I play more Game Boy games, I'm like, wow, they managed to do all this on the regular OG Game Boy. I thought the OG Game Boy was filled with like, crappy licensed titles or crappy, we're trying to make an NES game on a Game Boy with half the resources,
Right. Or
kind of stuff.
or like
But-
puzzle games like Tetris.
Handheld,
Yeah.
though.
But like sometimes you come across like these games like this and like Pokemon, and you're like, wow, they got a lot done with this little
For sure.
battery sucking monster.
4 double A's.
So there's 6 worlds, and you can go. They just throw you in there, and you can go wherever you want,
Right.
basically.
True. Mega Man did it first.
to start. Yeah, it is very Mega Man E. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also
Yeah.
has that feeling of like. So you have to consider that Super Mario 3 had already been out, and Super Mario World was out the same year. So, like, they took a page from those two games in a way on that overworld map. So it is cool, but it's not really new.
No, I wouldn't say it's new, but
I think it's new.
it's ambitious, I think, for a Game Boy game.
Yeah, it's so in Super Mario World back in the day, you probably would have had to have played it a couple times to realize you could like scoot over to Bowser's castle in like 11 minutes and kill him, right? But like this one, while you can't go straight to the end, you can go to any of the 6 worlds whenever you feel like it. Versus if you're to take the regular course in Super Mario World, you have to take it in order. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
You
unless
can't
you
skip
Star
around.
Road, and well, even then you can't.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. You can go to any world you want. That's pretty unique for Mario title, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
think this is
Mario, I
definitely a
suppose,
true
yeah.
break the yeah. This is a real break of form here.
Yeah,
Good
the
for
game's a
them.
little.
And I don't think we've seen it since.
I
Like, I don't think Mario's done this since.
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't played every Mario game, but like I can't think of one off the top of my head.
So, like, I'm thinking, like, you look at the hub world for Super Mario 64, you have options, but not every option.
Yeah,
Or, like, the same with
Yeah, I guess if you
Sunshine.
thought of like,
yeah, but
because like Super Mario 64 has like courses,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
They call them courses, but within each course is 5 stars, and you're taking a different path to get there. So it's almost like 5 levels in, well, like 7 levels in each course,
7.
if you think about it. So
Yeah, but
right.
no, that's a good point. I didn't think about being able to go to whatever you wanted from the beginning. But, you know, I think that this is a good segue into pacing. Um,
oh, we're already talking about
Yeah,
pacing, yo.
oh,
yeah, we
well,
are.
We
that was
started
that was
that
a quick one.
like like 5 minutes ago. This is gonna have to be on the blooper reel, huh?
I guess so.
Oh
Yeah, no, I just thought we were still kind of talking about.
no,
No,
we're on to pacing. Yeah.
we're in there.
Well, good, because so like,
It's got better pacing than Steve does tonight.
yeah, well, it's been a long week, and I'm sorry, everybody. Um, one of the things that kind of bugs me about it is that all of the levels are like really easy, and
I feel like they were short.
I think they did it because you could pick whatever one you wanted first. So like, there's no like, it doesn't feel like there's any kind of scaling because of that.
Yeah, I could see
Mega
that.
Man has a similar problem.
Yeah,
Where like there, I mean, maybe there's like 2 tiers of Mega Man bosses where like, you know, you can fight them with the Buster, and then you better not fight them with the Buster. Those are like the 2 tiers, but they're all kind of the same
yeah,
ish difficulty,
Yeah,
I'd say.
and obviously they didn't have a way at the time to scale based on the amount of levels you've beaten, but newer games have that kind of increased challenge. Not to make fun of it, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet missed the mark on that. But I think as far as like an
You know, Pokemon on the Game Boy was an achievement. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Switch is an embarrassment.
it's just sad. I'm sorry, I need to. It's okay, Charmander.
yeah. But I think I don't know. As far as like level length goes and stuff, I like it's just like one of those games that you just pick up and play in an afternoon, and you can like legitimately like beat it.
Yeah, it's pretty snappy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
I would
beat it in
say
like less than
2.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than if like if you're decent gamer or whatnot.
Well, apparently I'm not, because it took me like weeks to beat as a kid. I had a
Well-
hard time with Wario.
Speaking of which,
Wario.
Wario's castle is a nightmare. Like you go through all these baby levels and you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess this is over." No, you're going to spend like almost as much time as you spent on the baby levels trying to get through that castle.
Yeah.
That is like what happened to this game. And there's so much stuff in that castle that like it's the first time you see it and you're just expected to dodge it.
Yeah,
And also there's checkpoints in every single level. I think every single level is a pretty good length, especially for a Game Boy game. Except Wario's Castle, there's no checkpoints in there. You die, you go back to the beginning
yeah.
of that.
So
You die on Wario, you go back to the beginning.
So all those life ups that you've grabbed throughout the game, I hope you grabbed enough because you're gonna need them.
I have a
Trust
very
me.
important question. How long was Mario gone? Like, Wario completely transformed his living space into that monstrosity? Who did he have ship? Amazon
I just
Prime?
assumed yeah, like I just assumed it was how Mario lived too. I just thought he maybe liked to hunt or he kept the bones of his enemies.
He
you
has
know?
a CrossFit course in his castle.
Yeah, it's just
Nobody actually
it's like a
has been
home
in his
gym.
castle.
I have to be ready for Bowser.
He has a castle. Like they
With
they
lava
retcon that, and
and
he's living in like a shack, like on the outskirts of the Mushroom Kingdom these days. Like, but he
he
used to
was
have a castle.
he was humbled a little bit. It's in the future.
Well, he gave up the plumbing business. He didn't have any income, so he couldn't pay the taxes on the castle. So he had to live under a bridge with his brother.
I mean, it's his own island. Who's coming to collect taxes from Mario? He'd whoop him. He can beat
Eh,
Bowser in a fisticuff. Like,
must be under the must be under the Mushroom Kingdom municipality. And here's another pacing thing, which we found out from watching Dan do this, because Dan lost 34 lives in that Wario
Yeah, get
castle.
on my level, boys.
But he, after doing so, he game overed in the depths of Wario's castle like a dog, and it took all 6 of his coins back
Yeah, it did.
and put them back in the worlds. And so if you game over, you lose your 6 golden coins, which is like a punishment that,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very, very
it's
punishing.
really
it's
kind
so-
of a sin. I think. Like, I think it's really
It-
just not the greatest
it-
design. You're gonna have to go back and beat
it's
the
so-
baby levels in an hour.
right.
I mean, we play games that will just send you back to the beginning if you game over, but for some reason this felt worse.
Yeah, so I want to. It's so morally depressing when you go up to that door, like again, and you see all the coins taken, and you just see Mario just standing there, and all the coins are just gone. Like as a kid, I probably would have cried.
Wario
Especially
made
going
you
into
cry.
it with like 35 lives, you're like, oh yeah, I'm good all day long.
That's
Basically,
what
the game's
Wario's good
telling
at.
you you're not good enough. Get out of here.
Come back when you've grown up a little bit, kid.
So the pacing goes from baby to like, what is this?
Yeah.
Um,
Full throttle.
So that's-
It's like we were
that's
saying before,
part of an
from
issue.
0 to 60. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that it's kind
And,
of all over the place, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of just, having played it multiple times before, never really thought about it until now.
yeah.
You guys
Well, it was
brought-
the first time I played it, and all the worlds, like, yeah, some may have been harder than others, but they were very beatable and easy. As soon as you go to Wario's Castle, nothing like that is in the game prior.
There's so many new mechanics in
Yeah.
there too that you didn't see throughout the game. Like, I'd say most of the game is devoid of death pits,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Except for
for
the tree
a
level.
Mario game. Yeah, I mean, there's some, but like for a Mario game, there's very few death pits. Wario's Castle is just one long death pit,
For sure.
and there's some nice, like, wonderful platforming going on
Yeah,
there.
with Slippery Mario. It's excellent.
But and did you guys think Wario is hard for a Mario boss? Like, I think he's probably one of the hardest Mario final fights that exist. And not that Mario's known for boss fights.
I mean,
this isn't Dark Souls Mario, but like,
He kind of falls in the same category as the other bosses, in my opinion, because like once you learn what they do, you can like work around it and start, hurting them. Because it's like I got to him once on my playthrough of this game, and I almost beat him. Like I was one hit away, and he actually got me. I was so sad, but it is what it is.
I would say that his first two forms are pretty easy, but the Fire Flower one is actually pretty tough to avoid.
and you would get one less hit if you had to pick up the mushroom.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
right?
I feel like
yeah.
he's
So
tough,
pacing
but-
is kind of all over the place for this.
Yeah.
But-
Games. I feel like the game's pacing is great. The first half of the game. Second half, not so much. Because literally, the second half is Wario's Castle. Like, let's be honest here.
with no checkpoints. It's not cool. All right. Anything more on pacing?
I don't think so. I think we got everything.
right. Well, we all beat it this week. I think. Well, Dan almost
That
beat
was-
it. Dan honorary beat
was like
it. It was like he had a hitbox problem where he went to go jump on Wario and it was questionable who hit who. But Wario had the higher lance apparently
We all know
and
who won in the heart.
took damage. Yeah. But you know, we
Made
all
you
beat
want
it.
to
So
cry.
and Steve Steve beat it not that long ago. So, you know, I'd say this game's pretty playable
Oh yeah,
nowadays, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, there's a little bit of hurdles that come with the age of the game and the console limitations that it had, but overall, I still think it feels like a Mario game, albeit a little bit different. So in that regard, it also kind of makes it a little more enjoyable because you're going to get somewhat of a disjointed experience from the traditional Mario games. You'll get a little bit more off the beaten path in a way.
Yeah, I agree. And like the game, like honestly, is not very long. You can probably beat it in an afternoon. Like even if like you're stuck on Wario's castle, like you're probably still gonna beat it within, I would say, 5 hours. Tops. So like it's a nice quick little game to play. Like it's fun. If you like Mario, there's nothing not to like here, in my opinion.
And you know, I think so. It's a Game Boy game, you know, so I think many people would struggle with how playable this is nowadays. But if you want a look back, and you want a fond look back, I should say, on a console like the Game Boy, I think this is a good title to pick up, and I think it will be very approachable visually. You'll know what's going on all the time. There's nothing like weird and tricky or complex about it that just doesn't work on the hardware. The sound is bearable.
Yeah.
The visuals are more than bearable for the time. I'd even say maybe a step above the Pokemon games, if I'm being honest. Um, but but yeah, no, I think it's a good game. It handles well. Um, yeah, I think it's very playable now. But again, I feel like you got to be in the mood to look back at a Game Boy game, and I think you're going to struggle with that.
Yeah, for sure.
With all Game Boy titles.
Yeah,
So
you have to take it with a grain of salt a little bit. I mean, it's not going to feel exactly the same like we've discussed, but, you know, if you're itching to play a Mario game you haven't played, this isn't a bad one.
No, absolutely. And like for replayability too, it's like it's open world, so after the first level you can tackle anything you want after that. So,
And it's available on the
no.
Nintendo Switch if you have the online membership,
Yeah.
which if you don't have and you have a Switch, you're just losing out on, all those games for $4 a month. But, easy to pick up, easy to play, and I think it's a bunch of fun. I mean, what more could you ask for from an old school Game Boy title?
Right. For sure.
all right, guys, it's stump time. Our X Factor category. So tell us why or why not you like this game. Why not you like this game? Yeah. Tell us if you do or do not like this game.
So, okay, so for like X Factor, one of the cool things that we talked about already is the open worldness of the game. There isn't other Mario games that have really done this prior, um, either before or since. It's just like it's kind of a novel idea for Mario because it's just not been done. But I think it was good, but I wish they had a way to scale it. That would have been even better. But overall,
Yeah.
no complaints on that. And the one new power up, I like the rabbit ears, and I think it's a power up that carries over into the other Mario Land games, which turn into Wario Land. He gets the rabbit ears. So
Well, that's interesting.
Oh, does he?
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So
I picked up the Wario Land game for like 5 minutes this past couple weeks, just because I beat the other one and I kind of wanted to see what it evolved into.
yeah, I beat Wario Land and Wario Land 2, but I haven't beaten Wario Land 3. I like them; they're fun, and this is like prior to that. So I mean,
Yeah, what I thought was kind of weird that they added in this game too was like the shop system, because I don't think you really ever see that in a Mario game.
It's a negative X factor for me. I hate it every time I see it. I didn't
Yeah.
like it in Mario Wonder, and
Yeah,
I don't
because you're
like it
so
here.
like every time you collect coins, you're so used to like getting life up. If rewards you for getting a lot of coins. This game, you just keep collecting them even after the stage is done, and it's for like this like mini game that you play at the shop. I
Yeah,
think you can only get life ups. Can you get anything different?
you might be able to get power ups.
Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah. You want to know what you can get for your 999 coins? If you want to play that game, you can get 300 coins. You can spend 999 to get 300 coins. How's that sound? Is that good?
It's
wow.
trying
Yeah.
to disincentivize you to gamble because that's not good for children.
Mission accomplished.
I remember when I used the shop in my playthrough, I got like what, like 20 lives or something like that.
Yeah, you nailed the 20
Yeah, it
lives.
was so
Wow.
good. So for me, I actually love the system because I got 20 lives out of it.
Dan loves to gamble now too.
It's 2 a.m. His girlfriend wakes up. I'm like, what are you doing? She's all groggy. Dan's like, I gotta get more coins. I gotta gamble for lives. Middle of the night.
Yeah, go back to sleep. Never mind what I'm doing. Oh
I
boy.
think this game kind of falls flat on X Factors, though. We talked about the new power up and the. I'm sorry if you don't feel the same, but you compare it to Mario 3 and Super Mario World, which are other Mario games around the same time, and I just don't think that it has enough new stuff that makes me feel like it's worth playing over those games.
Right. Yeah,
I'm
I agree.
sorry. Especially nowadays with the ability to play those games handheld because they both had handheld releases. It just, I don't know. It's just not. Comparatively to the other games in the series, I'm just not as big on it.
Fair enough.
My counter argument
Well, here we go.
is that if you want to play those games, Super Mario Land, Super Mario 1, 2, and 3, you can go play those games. But if you want to zoom out and view Mario as the grand scope of Mario, right? You've got the mainline games, and then you've got the weird line games. This is one of the weird line games. Okay, if you want to have a Mario, and usually when people haven't played a game that is in a popular franchise, there's usually a very good reason for it. That it's bad or it didn't do well. And it's nice to have this game out there to go play something that you haven't played before. Get an introduction to a character that becomes like a really major character in the franchise going forward, Wario, and get a unique experience that isn't just like a cut and paste. We're trying to copy the NES/slash SNES on Game Boy, right? It's its own thing, and I think that's very surprising. And I think it's a good argument to go at least try this game out and see how it fits because it has its own set of physics, its own set of rules, its own game style. I think it really stands out, especially among the Mario titles. Am I saying it's better than Mario 1, 2, 3, and World? It might be better than Mario 1 actually. If you go back and play Mario 1, it's kind of
I I don't know.
there's actually like maybe 5 levels that actually exist in Mario 1 with different enemies and different setups. So it might be better than that one, but no, it's probably not better than the NES SNES versions. But
I wasn't
if you're looking
saying.
for something different that's Mario, like this is very playable. I think it's a strong X factor
I think what I
for
said
this.
was taken a little out of context. What I meant was that X Factor, it bringing new stuff to the table, I think it's kind of weak at that. I'm not saying that it's a bad game. I'm not saying that it deserves to be put up against the other two Mario games. But if you're going to look at it as a Mario game, like, you kind of have to put it up against them in some ways. This game is totally worth playing. But if I was to go back and replay and have a choice, having already played them, it's not on the same caliber. Not saying that you shouldn't play it. I think personally people should play this because I did have fun with it. But on the X Factor category, it just didn't bring enough new stuff to the table for me.
Fair enough. All right, Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like in the middle camp where it's like, well, what Don said. It's like its own thing, really, where it's like they kind of try to branch off and do their own thing, but at the same time, it is a Mario game, and if you're looking to play a Mario game, that's what you're going to get. So, I mean, like if you're into Mario, this is absolutely worth playing. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to say than that. Like I liked it. I feel like the pacing was a little janky, but other than that, it's definitely worth a playthrough.
All right, so we talked about our game, and now we are going to reach a final decision on it, on whether we are going to catch this random encounter or run away. But before we do that, I actually do want to give it a number grade, guys. But I want to give it simple 1 through 10. There are 6 golden coins. Let's give it a 1 out of 6.
Oh boy.
So starting with Steve, because we know he's going to give it the lowest score out of the 3 of us.
Maybe.
How many golden coins out of 6 do you give it?
So, overall, the game's fun. It's Mario. It's always a good time. Not always. Mario's missing.
Like it was awesome. What are you talking
about?
about?
Something different. Yeah, you see, there's one that nobody played, and there's a good reason behind it. Or Mario's Time Machine. That's another one.
Yeah. So, overall, presentation was decent, and, playability's great. The X Factor I'm not huge on, but gameplay I had a lot of fun. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 6 golden coins because I still love the game. I think you should catch it.
For sure.
How about you, Dan?
Go ahead, Dan.
So, I liked everything about the game for the most part. I think the pacing definitely was its weakest point. Like, I really think there should have been like maybe a level or two in between to bridge, the easy levels into Mario/Wario's castle. But other than that, it's a great game. Like if you have an afternoon, to burn and you want to play a Mario game, this is actually a good title to play. So I think I'm going to give it a 5 out of 6 when it comes to golden coins.
Yeah, I kind of echo a lot of your guys' thoughts. I think that this, especially for the time, brought a lot new to not only Mario but platformers in general, especially handheld platformers with all those different mechanics and things. But that pacing is a huge black mark on the whole experience, and for that, you just can't give it a perfect score. Yeah, no, I think it's. I wish I could tear one of these golden coins in half because I'm not quite a 5, but I'm not quite a 4. But I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5. Golden coins. We'll round up. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt for that. So I obviously want to catch it too. And you listeners should want to catch it as well. You should play it if you haven't already.
Right. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or send in any commentary or any thoughts about the game as well to our Gmail too. That would be super awesome of you. It's the Cable Club Podcast at gmail.com.
All right, so our next episode, guys, we're going to put Super Mario Land away. This might be the last time I ever play it. But our next episode is a Coliseum episode. And we're not changing the format on that one again. So expect more of the same of what you got out of Super Metroid versus Castlevania. But this time we had 4 different choices for our Coliseum matchups, and we ran a YouTube poll. And if you're listening on YouTube and you're like, what is that? Where is that? Go over to our channel page and click on community and you'll find the YouTube poll, but it's too late this time. Don't worry, we'll put up another one when we do another Coliseum episode. So we have some results, and Steve's got them up on a picker wheel, and we will see that now. Okay. And on this picker wheel, he has 1 space for each vote, and he's going to spin it, and we're going to get our matchup for next episode. Go ahead, Steve. Spin that thing.
All right, spinning now. What's gonna be? What's gonna be? So exciting! Looks like our Coliseum is going to be Turtles in Time versus Streets of Rage.
All right. Get my
If you
punch
like beat 'em
Streets of
up,
Rage is
Yeah.
Streets of Rage is one of my all-time favorites. All right, I'm super excited. So, Turtles in Time versus Streets of Rage. Tell us which one you think is better and why, and we will read your thoughts on our next episode. You can do that either in the comments here, or you can email us at thecableclubpodcast@gmail.com.
well, I don't know if I have anything else left to say for once.
I do. I'm never out of things to say.
Oh,
It's a curse. I wanted to thank our listeners and our subscribers, of course, for hanging out with us, especially if you've made it this far. I think to myself, I have a few content creators who I follow, and I wonder how many times a week that I forget to hit the like button. But if you could not be a Don, and if you could hit that like button for us, that makes us feel very, very tingly
For
inside,
sure, for
especially if you've
sure.
made it this far. And yeah, so now I think I am out of things to say, at least on this matter. Dan, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I know that eventually we'll have more avenues that you can reach us from, but still in progress. Like maybe a Discord channel eventually. We'll have a website eventually, so just keep a lookout for that stuff too as well. Yeah.
Game over, fellas.
Game
over.
over.
Time, monster. You don't belong in this world.